What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today we have ourselves the MAONOCASTER LITE. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So what we have here is basically a portable battery-powered mixer that's got a bunch of inputs and outputs, Bluetooth, USB interface, a whole bunch of controls, a soundboard, and a lot of ways to make your microphone sound really good. And yes, this entire video is going to be recording using the system, as well as the included microphone being recorded into my laptop right here through Audacity, through the USB Type-C connection, which makes this mixer an audio interface for your computer, since it will pick up the audio and send a microphone signal to your computer, which is nice. So as for the setup that we currently have, we have USB again for my computer, the line out going to my camera, and finally the microphone right over here. I'll be listening through with my headphones. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and take a look at the unboxing experience. So what we have here is a medium-sized box with a bunch of cool art. If you're ordering this for Christmas, it will come in a nice Christmas sleeve, so it makes it for a nice gift. The first thing you'll get when unboxing it is the quick manual guide, which gives you a nice overview on how things work, talks about the inputs and outputs and dials, just in case if you want to explore it yourself and don't feel like reading the manual. Moving on, you'll get the microphone, the mixer, the microphone wood muff, the height adjustable stand, as well as the shock mat, which of course can be adapted to a cheap boom arm for around $10 to $15. Now when it comes to cables, you'll get the 2-meter long XLR to 3.5mm connector, and no, the system here does not provide 48-volt phantom power. It only supports passively powered microphones, so things like the microphone that's included, and things like lavalier microphones. Next up, you'll get two 2-foot TRRS to TRRS connectors, as well as the 2-meter long USB Type-C to A cable. And along that, you'll get a very short USB Type-C extension cable. And finally, you'll get a very cheap pair of earbuds that come with no replacement tips. The cable is 2 meters long. The quality feels nice, but the audio quality is not great. As for one, it sounds kind of tinny, and at the same time, it picks up a lot of interference, such as radio stations. Not a big issue. You can always use your own pair of headphones. Now, some of you might be wondering why I'm recording two audio signals at the same time. One on my laptop and one on my camera. And to explain that, let's go ahead and talk about what we actually have for inputs and outputs. First of all, we have the Type-C connector. Again, it passes through the audio, which charges the unit, powers it, as well as turning this thing into a USB audio interface for your computer for both audio and microphone signals. Then we have pod 1, 2, and 3, and these are line outs that are not powered, so they are meant to be recorded on your camera or with an external recorder such as this one. Next, we have output, and that can be used for a pair of speakers, for example. Then we have music input, which is self-explanatory and can be controlled with this dial right here. Then we have headset, and that is exactly what I have here. And finally, microphone 1 and 2 inputs. So yeah, the reason I'm recording two audio signals at the same time is because the pod 1, 2, and 3 outputs are actually picking up on radio interference and are playing some radio stations while I'm trying to record through either my camera or the external recorder that I have here. And yes, I have tried a bunch of different cables, including this 2-meter long cable, and surprisingly, this cable that has no shielding actually performs better than the included cables here, which is kind of unfortunate. The cables here do feel pretty nice, but at the same time, I feel like the system itself is not providing very well shielding or protection against that kind of problem. And again, I've tried the original cables that are included, the 2-meter long cable, as well as a nice shielded cable, and with all 3 cables, as well as trying to record on my camera or the external recorder, the 3 pod outputs are unfortunately picking up on radio signals, and that's just no good. And if you want to hear what that sounds like, well, I could probably feed it at some point here and show you what that sounds like. However, if you're using this with your computer, then you're going to have a perfect experience, no problems whatsoever, whether it comes to audio or the microphone signal. You're going to have very nice, clean audio with zero noise interference whatsoever. So everything is perfectly fine except these two here, so keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and finally take a look at all the different buttons, controls, and see what the system is all about. So for starters, at the top we have the power button, which you hold down to turn on and off. Then we have the 6-stage backlight button, and that would basically turn on and off the backlights, which is very useful if you want to save some battery life. And speaking of battery life, the advertised battery life is about 8 to 10 hours, and in my testing, that matched up perfectly. The first night, I left the microphone on with the system on, with that being connected to USB, and it lasted roughly around 8 hours with the backlight fully on. And then I tried another night with the backlight off, and I got roughly about 10 hours. It was still running. It had 1 bar left for the battery indicator, which is located right in the middle, very handy. And yeah, the battery life should be plenty for whatever you're doing. As for charging time, it will roughly take you around 2.5 hours, and that's really about it. You can always just hook up a power bank if you want to have an extended battery. Very cool. So starting off, of course, we have the volume level dial right here. We have the music dial, which can be used to actually check out the music right here. And the nice thing, it actually shows you the volume level while you're doing this dialing. And the same thing goes for the microphone, which is very, very handy, even though you can already tell where it is right now. And of course, with music, it's not only going to show the music input, but also your desktop audio, as well as the Bluetooth input, which you can actually go ahead and connect to my phone in just a bit here and show you guys how that works. Then we have the lows, mids, and highs for your microphone, and that's when you can go ahead and really tweak your audio and make it sound much better, and just really tweak it to your own voice, and just make your audio sound the way you like it. Let's go ahead and dial it in. Drop it right here, and we should be good to go. And right next to that, we have the recording volume level. Now, if you look down here, we have a dedicated echo slider for those memes. So we can go ahead and push that up. But you'll notice that nothing is happening until we go ahead and control it using the different modes, which currently we are on the regular. So go ahead and press that. And now we are in the echo. E. We got pop, which is a kind of a different kind of effect. And of course, we can go ahead and dial that in for a medium effect, or just have it all the way out, which is pretty cool. And we're back to normal. Now, right next to that, we have the pitch, and if we go ahead and press that,
you'll notice that my voice is now in the female voice, and you can definitely hear the autotune going up and down with my voice. So it's not just a pitch changer; it also does some autotune to make your vocals sound more female. In my opinion, the best effect is if you actually do it from far away, and if you get too close, it kind of ruins the effect. So it's like totally cool. It's very awesome. You can really trick some people with it if you get the voice just right and just be in harmony with the autotune. But if you have a raspy voice, then it's gonna totally ruin the effect.
And now we're speaking through the male voice. And again, don't try to force your voice to sound different or even deeper, because if you do, this is what it kind of sounds like, and it sounds just, I don't know, doesn't sound very great. And unfortunately, no, you cannot have the echo effect alongside the high pitch. It just simply does not work. It's only going to work either one or the other.
Then we have the baby voice, and that's what it sounds like if I'm speaking normally. But with this one, you can definitely play around with your voice and make it sound even smaller. Like, wah, wah, I'm a baby. This is the baby voice. Very annoying. Let's move on.
You are about to be terminated. This one, in my opinion, is pretty cool. It definitely does work. Very cool indeed. So with that being said, let's move on to the next one.
so be careful with the pitch button, because if you're using this on Discord, your friends might leave you because you're going to be overusing it. But it's definitely a cool thing to play around with, especially in multiplayer games. Or you'll just be that one kid that has a voice changer. Yeah, you know. But hey, at least you can throw people off by doing it on the fly with no delay whatsoever, and people will ask you if you're doing this with software or hardware, which is kind of cool. Next up, we have the Denoise. If we go ahead and press that, we'll actually get some pretty damn clean noise cancellation. Not gonna lie here, it sounds pretty good. It takes out all the background noise. If we go ahead and undo that, you can kind of hear the hissing once again. So let's go ahead and do a noise floor test with and without noise cancellation and show you guys what that sounds like. Here we go. Very useful. Then we have Sidechain. Next up, we have the music only button, and that basically does kind of a karaoke effect that removes vocals from audio tracks, and it doesn't work very well. It's kind of useful if you want to do something on the fly, but it's there if you want it. It doesn't sound that great, so you can do Loopback, I believe, and then do music only, and then play this. So yeah, you get the idea. Music only kind of works. It's very finicky, doesn't sound great. Next up, we have Loopback, which is what I use to actually have you guys listen to my desktop audio being looped back into my microphone, which is very useful if you want to play something into your microphone without using an external device, or if you want to use it as an annoying speed jammer for your friends on Discord, and that's where they'll hear their own voice being looped back, and it's going to be very, very annoying. But one very useful function of this is actually getting it to record one of the 4 presets that we have here, and I'll show you guys what that looks like in just a bit. You can use that to record into these 4 customizable assignable buttons. Very useful. Next up, we have the sidechain, which if you have music playing, what it will do is actually lower down the music volume when you start talking automatically, which is very cool. So go ahead and do that. And I believe we're going to need Loopback for this. I'm going to play some music. If I start talking now, you can see that it automatically lowers the volume, which is very, very nice. If I start talking again, it lowers it in a very nice gradual mode. If you start talking again, very cool. So yeah, a very useful function. Next up, we have the monitoring audio, and this is what actually goes into your headphones as well as the external speakers if you have them. And it kind of mutes your audio as well when you're recording, which is not very useful. I'll talk more about this in just a bit, but let's go ahead and talk about the presets. So let's get the cringe out of the way. We have 8 buttons right here with low quality already pre-assigned sounds. I really wish these were actually customizable. Maybe in a future software update they could do that. Just please, these are not, nobody's going to use these. I'm sorry. But let's get them out of the way, and I'm going to play them one by one, and you guys can just tell me what you think in the comments. Then we got Counter-Strike for Kids. Yes. Yep. Hashtag awkward. Oh my god. That sounds like a riot more than a boo. Alright, so those are the sounds. They're not great, but you can play around with them. They're cool, I guess, for starters, but nobody's going to use them as much as the customizable buttons right here, which in my last time I recorded these, it's been like a while. So here's what I have recorded in the past over Discord. Alright. So yeah, you get the idea. Let's go ahead and record a custom sound, and I'll actually show you that by going ahead and connecting it to Bluetooth, and visit myinstance.com, which is a very awesome place to get some sound bites. And the way you can actually go ahead and record it is by first clearing the current button and then holding it down once again. And once it starts flashing, you can go ahead and play a sound or say something on your mic to record that sound bite. So go ahead and do that right now. So now it's cleared. And once it turns off, we can go ahead and hold it down. And once it starts flashing, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to press something. So let's play that. Very cool. So yeah, you have 4 of these and you can play around with them, reassign them, and do all that fun stuff. Maybe you can meme your friends and you'll have a soundbite of their voice doing something stupid and be the cool kid with the mixer. That's it for the sound bites. 8 cringy ones, which I hope you can actually reassign in the future, but with 4 really awesome customizable ones, which I wish the rest of these were able to do the same thing. Maybe in a future update, maybe in a future revision, who knows. Final thing we actually have here that you may have not noticed is actually a built-in Autotune function right over here. As you can see, we have all the different notes. Not exactly sure how it works. I'm not a musician, but you can kind of press it, and you'll see that it actually activates with this LED, and it tells you what note you're on. Just in case if you didn't notice, there's a Bluetooth indicator right here. It's always flashing if nothing's connected, steady if it's connected. And yeah, if we go ahead and speak normally, you may not notice until you actually get really close to the microphone where it starts picking up and kind of trying to set your voice into a tone. Skirt, skirt, got my $5 grand in my G-Wagon. Ooh, nobody gives a shit. Ooh, yeah. So you can kind of do some mumble rap if you want. You can have, thankfully, we can do some echo with this to get that extra effect. Spherical, lyrical, miracle, individual, slipping and hipping and flipping and dipping. Got a coffee mug in my bag. Ooh. Can't live without my morning coffee. And you get the idea. It works. It's pretty cool. That was painful. Trying to imitate mumble rap. It's definitely an art. I can't do it. But if you want, you can definitely do it live with this system. So yeah, you have saw it all. It's pretty cool. This system can do a whole lot of things live while you're recording. The microphone that's included sounds pretty good, to be honest. Really like how it sounds, and the fact that I can actually go ahead and tweak my audio live here and just make it sound the way I want is very nice. The denoise function does work. It's very cool. Now, of course, this is not a perfect device. I've encountered some issues with it. Nothing really major, of course, other than the pod 1, 2, 3 connectors actually outputting a lot of interference, whether it's recording with my phone, my external recorder, or my camera. I just couldn't get these to work properly. Unless I have a really nice shielded cable, which is hard to find when it comes to 3.5mm. That being said, the headphone jack is very clean. No issues. You can drive my HD660S perfectly fine. If you don't want to spend too much, you can go ahead and get a lav mic and hook it up and have the other person record it that way with their own cheap lav microphone. The output port works perfectly fine if you want to set up a pair of speakers along your headset. But the only thing that I kind of find annoying when using this with my computer as a primary audio interface would have to be not being able to actually mute my own microphone when I'm using the system. The microphone is always feeding through into the system here, into your headphones, into your speakers, and you just simply cannot mute it on the monitoring end. Even though you have all these different dials, none of them actually work in a combination where you can mute the audio feeding into your headset, but have it still recording through the output end, which is kind of unfortunate. If there's a way to do it, I'll leave a pinned comment, and let you guys know that way. But yeah, it can get very annoying listening to your own voice being fed back into your headphones 24/7 when you're just trying to play some games. It's not great. If you're just sending your microphone away, you're not going to hear anything. You're just going to hear your game for the most part. But it just would have been nice to actually mute the microphone, but still have it recording. And speaking of recording, the only other kind of issue I kind of found is sometimes the system here can't keep up when you have any of the cool effects on, such as denoise. I just noticed at longer periods of time, you'd randomly hear just a little small static noise in the background when the denoise is active, or the pitch, or the effects. But in my opinion, nothing too big really here. It's just, again, the biggest issue that I have here, other than the pods, is not being able to mute that microphone feedback noise. And with all that being said, that is really about it for this video. We have went through all the different effects, different features. It's a really cool system. Would love to see another revision of this where we actually have all these being reassignable, a way to actually mute the microphone audio that is being fed back into your headset and use this as a primary audio device for your computer, which is going to be really cool and very useful in a lot of instances when you just want to have some fun with it while you're in voice chat with your friends. Battery life is great. It's a functional system. So yeah, that's all for this video. I guess it will make for a cool gift if someone is looking for a microphone system. And this can be kind of their first system here. But again, if they're using this as a primary audio interface, then it might be annoying being able to hear the microphone at all times. Of course, if you're not recording anything, you can always go ahead and mute the microphone and you'll be fine using the system. But if you want to record something and not listen to your own voice, then that's a different story. Again, if you want to use this as a primary audio device. So yeah, that is all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.